Micheal Bisping versus Gegard Mousasi. Micheal Bisping is the current champ. He did it by beating Luke Rockhold, a man that beat him. And Micheal Bisping, you know, a lot of people never thought he would be the champ. I mean, I don't want to put the guy down, but, you know, he fought the long road. He took the hard road. He kept on fighting, persevering, fighting everybody who he had to fight until he got his shot. And when he got it, he did what he had to do. He won the title. He beat a legend afterwards, Dan Henderson. And he's 38 years old. He's got to defend his title. A young guy out there who has fought so many fights is Gegard Mousasi. And Gegard Mousasi is fighting at UFC 210. And I'm going to predict that he beats Chris Weidman. He beats a guy who's from New York, where I'm from. And he proves that he's the more skilled fighter, the more skilled athlete. Takes Chris Weidman out, the ex-UFC champion, and makes a real case for a title shot. Now, at this point in time, he's won 4 in a row. If he beats Chris, it's going to be 5 in a row. And although he still has to avenge a loss to Gegard Souza, he's got a good argument for the title. He's highly ranked, and he's just a really skilled fighter. You know, he's skilled in all areas. He's only got 6 losses, and he's got 41 wins. And that's a lot for a 31-year-old. Micheal Bisping has 30 wins, 7 losses, and he's been in the UFC for a long time. While Gegard Mousasi had the fight to get into the UFC, he was the ex-Dream champion, and he did some amazing things in Dream, including beating Gegard Souza, a fight that he later lost. But he also beat Mark Hunt. He beat a heavyweight, and he submitted him. And you don't see too many middleweights do things like that. That's really just outstanding. That's one of the things that really we remember him for. And he fought great in UFC. He's beaten guys like Dan Henderson, Vitor Belfort, avenged a loss to Uriah Hall, and fought some tough fights with Jacare, as we talked about before, and even Lyoto Machida. But when he fights somebody who's not the best, not as highly ranked as him, he usually goes out there and dominates. And the same thing's true for Micheal Bisping. He likes to wear his opponent out. He likes to strike. He likes to keep it standing up. And Micheal Bisping likes to knock you out. He's got 16 knockouts, only has 4 decisions. So we know what Micheal Bisping wants to do. He's got superior cardio most of the times when he gets in there. And in order to beat Micheal Bisping, you need to out-cardio Micheal Bisping. That's something that Chael Sonnen's done and other opponents have done. But it's hard to do. Gegard Mousasi would have to be in great shape. And he always is. And he's real tricky on the ground, too. Submitting guys like Mark Hunt. But even in UFC, he's had his submissions. And we've seen him submit Mark Munoz and some other fighters, Mike Kyle. But he likes to knock his opponents out as well. And in his last 3 fights, he has 3 knockouts in a row, 4 wins in a row, knocking out Thiago Santos, Vitor Belfort, and Uriah Hall. So both these guys are on winning streaks, and both these guys are the top of the 185-pound division. And a couple more wins in a row, and we might see this fight. So I want to ask you guys, the fans, how you feel about Gegard versus Micheal Bisping. And if you think we're ever going to see this fight, I think it's going to happen in the next year or 2. So I want to throw it out there. Ask you guys, the fans, who you think would win, Gegard Mousasi or the champion, Micheal Bisping.